pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Lots of visitors. Just take that introduction. But we're not going to do that tonight. We have some people. We're going to proceed right into our superintendent's update.
Good evening. The person we have today is, I'm going to welcome Troy and Chad as our administrators here at Deer Park High School. We have a new admin team this year, and they've been rocking it. They've been coming in. It's a very nice, smooth, and easy transition for them. So I'm just going to let them go first this evening and share some really good things happening at Deer Park High School. In fact, Troy is taking on a lot of pieces with his team, and I'm like, Troy, it's okay. You don't have to take on the world. You only need to take on a few things, but yeah, super easy transition. So really appreciate it. The one thing I will say that I really appreciated is all the spirit assemblies and just bringing the love back for Deer Park, and really just the STAG Pride has been doing that. And they've had a lot of fun in staff meetings, and I'm just like, please, no staff get hurt, please. But I mean, the spirit this year has been amazing. It's been pretty awesome. So thanks for your hard work.
Yeah, you bet. Hi everyone, Troy Dewitt, principal at the high school, and Chad Hand, my assistant principal. We're here to be here for both of us a little bit tonight. A lot of times when we do these presentations, I know in the past we bring in kids, but we thought it would be important this year, since we're brand new, to kind of hear what we've been up to and how we've been kind of choosing to lead the school this year. Yeah. And up here, one of the first things that you'll see is kind of motto that I've kind of gone by when we work with kids, and kind of both taking this on as we work with our kids. And anytime we're in front of our kids, this is what we try to keep it super simple. We talk about the fact that if we do these two things, we'll have a great school. If we can just work hard, show up to school, do what you're supposed to be doing in class on a regular basis. If you're in an activity or athletics or whatever, you're working hard. And then the other piece is being nice to other people. Again, fairly simple, but not always the easiest things to kind of follow through on, right? So this is always a work in progress at any school. I show you this slide. This is something I shared with staff at the end of the summer, start of our school year. So John Hattie was a researcher. Not sure if you're familiar with him. I'll give a quick little background. He did research about research. So he looked into thousands of other pieces of research in regards to schools, and basically took a look at, we do all these things with kids, all these different strategies we try. We do group work, we do direct instruction, you can see all the different categories that exist up here. And this isn't all of them. There's like, I want to say like 102 or something like that, different things that he looked at. Basically, he wanted to look at, we do all these things with kids, what makes the biggest impact on students? What actually works with students? And so I bring this up with our staff, and I bring it up often. The number one thing, so let me give you a little backstory in the numbers, what those mean. So 0.4 for his research, 0.40 is basically student growth over 1 year. Okay? So that's what 0.4 means as far as all these decimal points that you see up there. 0.4 typically is just a typical growth of any student as they kind of just mature through 1 year of basic schooling, kind of going along with your average things that you're taught in school. Okay? That's 1 year's growth. So when you look at this chart, the number one thing is collective teacher efficacy, and it's at a 1.57. So that's almost 4 grade level, 4 years worth of growth if you're doing that top thing correctly. And what that truly means is that your staff at your school is all on the same page and working towards the same goals, if that makes sense. And the kids feel that, right? And they buy into it, and they can see that everyone's on the same page. That's the number one thing out of all of this research. So it's pretty interesting.
And that's divided amongst the 12 years.
It's just
from first grade to 12.
From year to year. Okay. And then there's other pieces in here, but I want to kind of highlight that piece of it for what we're going to talk about today. Because one of our biggest goals is that whatever we're doing, that we're doing together as a staff, as we're doing our work together. The other big one for me is this third one, teacher estimates of learning is at a 1.29, okay? Is what that means is that students feel confidence that their teacher thinks they can learn. That makes sense.
Recording in progress.
Probably all experienced folks that we had as teachers that we didn't want to work very hard for because we just got a feeling from them like they don't truly believe in us. They don't really kind of think that we can actually do what we're trying to learn. And so that's a huge piece too, is that we should always be making students feel like they are capable of learning in our classrooms. So those are the two that I really hit on the most. I could go on forever about all these different ones, but we have lots to get to. But that's always a focus as we work with our staff. So I put the district goals up here, these three. I left off the fourth one because it's more about facilities and things like that. As far as these, and I put this up because all of our goals match the district goals. Okay, so we're going to go through each of these. I'm going to share a little bit in each one, and then Chad's going to talk as well. So the first one around academic excellence. We are going through accreditation is the first part on there. We're going through an accreditation process this year. It's about every 5 years, 6 years, you have to renew accreditation. Essentially, the accreditation process, if you're unfamiliar with that, is we have all these goals, and you're going to hear all the things we talked about tonight. There's an outside group that comes in, and we have to document and work with this group throughout the year. And they come in, and they're going to meet with student groups, they're going to meet with parent groups, they're going to meet with our teachers, and basically reaffirm all the things that Chad and I say that we're doing at our school and with our kids and with our staff. They're basically, are you actually doing those things? It's an outside group that kind of takes a look at your whole school, and they look at the good things you got going on, and then they're also going to talk to you about maybe some potential holes that you need to fill with the work that you're doing in the high school. Okay. So one of the things that we really refocused on as a district is the PLC work that goes on Wednesday mornings. We've been working with our staff to document our essential standards by unit throughout the year. We're continuing to build those common formative assessments. So like teachers, so as an example, all of our algebra teachers, common assessments that they're putting together and building together and giving to students so that when they come together on Wednesdays, they can actually share information because they're getting the same tests. Gone are the days of each teacher in a building just giving random tests. You have 4 different algebra teachers giving 4 different tests. Now we all give the same tests on a regular basis that we worked on together, coming together so that we can kind of analyze what students are learning and what they're missing so that we can go back and work with them. Just that continue to really hone in on student learning focus in that process, putting our egos aside. And really checking. I gave a test to my students, you gave that test to your students, and my students did better than yours. And it's not about who did better, it's about what I can do now to help you as a teacher in the classroom or my colleagues to get better, right? So the students will learn a little better in that classroom. And one of the things we've gone to this year, we always had a focus on ninth grade as a really big time focus with our students and their learning. This year we shifted to grade level meetings, and now we're meeting with. So tomorrow, or Wednesday as an example, on our 1 hour late start, we will be meeting in grade level groups on each of our grade levels. So primarily you have teachers that primarily teach a lot of 9th graders or 10th or 11th. And then we sit down and we actually just talk about the students that are struggling in those particular grade levels, and we bounce it. Because sometimes they're only struggling in one class and we got to work to figure out what's going on in that one class, right? Or we have some background because we built a good relationship with students. And we may know that student a little better, and we can share some information that's going to help other teachers working with that student. Through these discussions, it's actually led us into some interesting topics around grading practice. And we're just starting to dabble with that. That's a big topic. That's a huge topic, especially with school. There's a lot of tradition that goes into grading, right? And people are stuck on grading practices. But I challenged our staff. I said, raise your hand if you've ever changed your grading practice, and everybody raised their hand. I said, then why would we not continue to talk about it, right? Because we're always looking to change it and to rethink and self-evaluate how we're grading kids. We're very intentional about meetings. We don't just meet to meet. So every week, we start our Monday with special education meeting in the morning. We just did that today. We have an intervention team that meets every Monday morning. Same alternative programs and placements. If we were looking to move a student potentially to a different program to make that work better for them, that's a weekly meeting that we have. Our student success team is monthly. That's taking a look at any students that we might need to refer for IEP services and things like that might need a little extra support. And this year we've added in our Friday office meetings to make sure we go over what we're doing this week and a week out, so that we're all on the same page with our counselors, our admin, and our secretarial staff as well. Another piece in our academic excellence is college and the high school, we're working hard. Running Start is a great program, but I would love to keep the kids here as much as possible. So we are continuing to work on adding college and high school classes. So starting next year, we will have an economics class that will be offered for college credit in the high school, as well as Algebra 2 trig classes are all going to be offered for credit if students want to take advantage of that. Yeah.
Is there a grade requirement for those college classes?
Just have to pass them.
Like, so freshmen,
You pass the classes.
freshmen can jump in and take that?
Well, they got to, like in the math, they have to be in the right sequence. So they could, but typically our freshmen are going to be more around algebra to start with and geometry areas. And then as they advance through, but yes, once they get to Algebra 2, they could be working towards college credit.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, Chad's up.
Going through again, just talking about excellence in the classroom. One of the biggest pieces for us this year was the cell phone piece, of taking cell phones away in that scenario of just keeping kids focused. I know the book Alexa has us, or gave us an opportunity, Anxious Generation, really dives into again how humans, and specifically this generation, has a hard time just with life, and part of that big piece is the cell phone. And obviously that's around everywhere, talking about the cell phone issue. But Troy wanted to take it on from day one. And I thought this is my first year. I thought that'd be fun. But actually, to be honest with you, it really hasn't been bad at all. Kids have bought in. The staff have done a really good job buying in. And again, just keeping everyone accountable. And talking about that first slide that Troy talked about of some of the biggest advances and how to improve your school. Everyone was on the same page with that piece. So it really wasn't tough. I was a little nervous, but again, it's not perfect by any means. We're still working through different pieces here, but it is definitely a major difference within our school process. So again, cell phone policy has been huge. Pick my kid, I'll spend a little time with that. That's a couple three-pronged for us. The first piece is focusing on students checking in and out of classrooms. And it keeps track of it via the program. It allows us to know how much time they've been out of class, so that if you're the 6th period English teacher and so-and-so wants to use the restroom, you can see that they've been out 9 times already today. So it's that process of kids obviously trying to keep them where they're supposed to be, plus gives us an opportunity to, again, try to keep things as safe as possible. I have a running list of any kid that's in the hallway at that point when teachers use this program to understand who's where. And again, when it comes to an emergency situation, I think this is where it comes down the line now, is now we know maybe a little bit better where kids are located at that point in time, which is the other 2 prongs to this piece for the Pick My Kid piece, which Troy and I are going to meet that again on Thursday. It talks about the emergency reunification piece of if we do have an emergency, how are we communicating to the community through this program, and plus how we're going to get kids back to their families and whatnot. And so that's the other portion of the Pick My Kid. But the basis one we're using right now is the hall pass, get that used correctly. We had a little bit of a snafu with IT and just the communications between their program and our Skyward, but now we're up and running with a handful of our teachers going through it. And so, and again, same thing, I thought the kids would complain. They've done a really good job not complaining, and they do a good job filling it out. So I've been also impressed there.
Is it a tracker?
Yep, it tracks again if the kid leaves the class, and then again they have to do the appropriate thing of signing out, and then it says, then it gives a little time too of saying, hey, use the restroom on average should be 8 minutes, let's say.
Where's the data stored?
Via the program itself.
On a cloud?
Yeah, on the cloud. Yep.
So if the cloud's hacked,
Yep.
then perpetrator can get information on the student.
Ish. Yeah,
If-
ish.
if it
It's
was-
by numbers. It's by number.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be by number.
That's my reservation.
Okay.
Okay.
But it doesn't track where the kid is in the school, just that they're not in the classroom.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Next one down here, Homework Center. That's been going on forever. Leslie Hills has ran that. It gives kids opportunities from 2:45 to like 4:15 to come in. We have generally about 3 staff members in the building. offering their services again for students to come in and get assistance to help them go through things. We do not have transportation of that piece, so that process again has to be on the parent being able to and or the student getting where they need to be. But it's an opportunity for us to give a little extra time for those students that need it. Lunch intervention is something that's new this year. It's one of those things just going through my mind of how do we help connect, especially our freshmen and our sophomores, our major two focuses at the beginning of failing classes. We started that this year, so any student who has more than one F currently, we start to meet with them during their lunchtime. So they bring their lunch in, we start to connect with them. That way we have an opportunity to connect with them even better. I know it's only like 20 minutes by the end of it, but it gives that opportunity to build a relationship with that kid that we can have the conversations, and we build conversations with parents within that whole process. So the big piece for us is how do we build conversation and connection. Our students in special ed are not generally in that population because they have a connection already. So we want to get those students who don't have those same kind of connection opportunities that kind of fall through the cracks that we want to try to connect to make sure we're.
Can I go back real quick? I think my kid.
Yeah.
How many other districts use that? I've heard like West Valley uses something similar.
That's a great question. Troy, do you have an answer to that one from the get-go?
As far as around this area, I'm not sure. I don't know that answer.
This is something you and Joe looked into in the past, and this year they decided to pull the trigger with.
Yeah, there's a variety of programs like this that are out there.
Okay.
And so we hooked up with this group basically to help us. What's another nice feature to it is that when we're meeting with parents, we can run reports that show how often a student is out of class.
And it's all by the number. The kids, each kid's assigned a number, right? It's not a name.
Their name is in there to a certain degree, but it's all identified by number. Yeah.
And all it's really telling us is time in class, time out of class. Essentially, it's from an information standpoint.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Going to the homework center again. Actually, at lunch, I mentioned moving down. Again, that's given us opportunity to meet those kids, and we've had, we had really 3 freshman boys specifically that probably would have had 4 or 5 Fs by the end of their first semester because they just don't know how to be students. And we were able to get them down to like 1 to maybe 2 apiece, and making those connections. And so kids that would typically be moving on to a different program altogether, or alternative school and or dropping out, unfortunately, we've hopefully given that opportunity to connect and make that opportunity for them to, again, feel like they belong here at Deer Park High School. So again, that's a big piece for us, and Scott Carlson and then Leslie Hills have done a really good job setting up those pieces so we have those conversations. Contracts, next piece down is another form for us is we're not going to hold a summer school this year. And so that's another process for us at the high school level of gaining credits back and finding ways, again, to help kids get to that 24 credit mark. One of some of the things of having to figure out, hey, how do we connect kids and understand that students will fail? And so how do we help those students get to where they need to be? Troy had done this at his previous district. A handful of teachers from other districts had done the same deal. Is they make a contract piece for students. If, let's say, in algebra, your first semester, you fail, but you're close to the mark. You're in that mid-50s, somewhere in that 50 mark, and you're at that spot to where you're close, but you didn't get over the hump. So for us, we meet now with the students, and we meet with the teacher, and we meet with their family, and we make a contract saying if they're able to improve and get like a 65 or a 70, depending on the conversation, their second semester will retroactively come back and change their grade to a passing grade that first semester. Again, giving them another opportunity to improve as a student, plus again, giving them the credit they needed to make sure that their graduation is on time. So again, that's a new process for us this year. I think this first semester we had a total of 8 students we worked through with this contract here. And again, overall for our first year here, Troy and my first year, I think it was close to like 96% of passing classes. So of all the students in our building, 96%, which is a big deal. And that reflects generally to your graduation rates. And so that's where we're at. So 96% was a good spot for us. But again, we're trying to get those last little pieces we can. Last one there, inclusion efforts. So again, the next piece too is with our students with accommodations, and students in special ed. We're always trying to find ways to connect them to, again, to be inclusive. One of our big pieces we're looking at right now with our math department is right now we currently have 2 algebra lab and a geometry lab class. Unfortunately, a lot of those times they get whittled down to where there's only a handful of students left in those classes. And a lot of times there's students, again, that are in special ed. So they're not getting the same opportunity to be with their grade level peers to get the same kind of instruction. So our whole goal for there is talking about next year is eliminating those classes and creating only algebra and or the geometry classes. So maybe adding two extra algebra classes, but allowing us to spread students out as best we possibly can to allow them to be around their peers and hopefully see it at a successful rate and be around students who again can be successful in algebra, give the opportunity for inclusive grades. So that's a big thing that the math department's talking about this year, and that's something again I think we're going to look forward to this next school.
All right, so where do we want to go to? Student well-being and students feeling safe and having a sense of belonging at school. This is a daily focus. We talk about every staff meeting. We talk about all the time with our staff. When it comes to social emotional pieces, it kind of bugs me sometimes that sometimes schools approach it as, well, if we have this one guest speaker come in or we do this one thing, all of a sudden we fixed social emotional. And my message to our staff is that we should be doing things every single day in our classrooms on that piece. It should be a daily thing. And so we really intentionally focus on some of our staff meetings, things they can be doing at the beginning of class to continue to get to know their kids, get to know kids' stories, get to know more and more about each of their students, and we challenge them with that on a regular basis. We have our lane crew, we have our older students that are paired and work with our 9th grade students, and they run the lane crew program. We're monthly doing citizenship awards. Our kids actually go in classes and teach lessons to our kids. And then lunchtime activities that occur out in the commons. There's more and more of that we're trying to infuse as far as just those fun pieces. I always talk to staff all the time. We all remember high school. We remember those things a lot of times outside of class, right? That those are the memories a lot of times that we have going on, not that science test that we took in 8th grade or whatever the case may be. Okay. Leadership class. Randy Martin is our new advisor as of 2 years ago, and they're working hard. We've changed now to do monthly assemblies just to get the kids out of the classroom and get a little more into just having some fun together. We put together a staff dance this year, and this is another big piece. We're really trying to get the staff more involved and kind of being goofy at times. It's okay to be kind of goofy with the kids and for them to see you in that light. We did we just did this last week, teacher versus student basketball game, and it ended up being a pretty good success. The kids enjoyed watching us old people get out there and run around with the
That was
younger
quite
kids.
the picture with Cam standing next to them.
Yeah. Yeah, the height difference. Yeah, exactly.
Who won that game?
We did. There's a little controversy over the scorekeeping, but if anybody passed, we won.
You got a score?
He's playing.
Cam was keeping score, so. All right. We dress up days, same thing. We're going to do those. We're going to do the dress up days. I'm trying to encourage staff to just be involved with the kids in doing those. We did grade level T-shirts this year, so each grade level got a free T-shirt. And those were sponsored by local businesses in the area. So the goal is that each year we do that and they get a different color so that we get our school colors out there, the stag out there, it's in the community, and that kind of thing. And then they've done a really nice job with club involvement. Each of our our clubs have an officer that's represented at each ASB meeting to give input. And so this is super important because one of the things I stress to them is with leadership is you need to be thinking about the entire school. Not just your buddies, okay, not those people you hang out with on a regular basis. We're thinking about everybody. And so at assemblies, when we do little competitions, we're bringing down people from all different areas of our school that exist. And so that's been a really good thing. Staff one-on-ones, this is a piece as far as staff well-being. I started doing at the end of spring last year before I started as principal. And then this February, I literally sat down with every staff member, one-on-one. I gave them each about a half hour of my time. And so it takes a lot of time, but I think it's well worth it. And I still have like 2 or 3 to finish up for February. And I'm kind of calling it Feedback February. It's kind of good to kind of talk with everybody, continue to get to know my staff outside of just their job, and then also give them an opportunity to talk about what's going well and any improvement areas that we could continue to improve on the school. And then staff commitments is something that I do quarterly with them. They basically, I challenge them to commit to something for the next quarter. And then they put it in an envelope, they write it to themselves, they put it in an envelope, and then at the end of each quarter, they undo that envelope and take a look, and they kind of self-assess and talk with somebody about what they've been doing. Where I've really challenged them around this year in regards to the well-being is I'm asking them to put names of students in those envelopes of kids that you're not connected with 100% right now. Kids that maybe sit in the back of the class, you haven't talked to as much. And so when they pull that challenges for that next quarter, that they're going to focus on those one or two kids to develop that relationship.
So student advisory group, again, it's find a way to connect with the students. So again, another thing Troy brought in that's it's been a pretty good success is we brought in leaders from different groups throughout our building. DECA, some of our art programs, music. Generally 12 to 15 students we meet with monthly. And we get their voice and we ask them, again, kind of same lines of what we're talking with our staff, and kind of get an understanding of where their feelings on different scenarios, such as the cell phone policy or the bathrooms or something like Take My Kid. Because we want their voice also to hear what their perspective on life is. And we don't have every group in the sense of every kid, but we have a large group from all the different major groups in our building, from clubs, whatnot. And so again, it's been an opportunity for us just to sit back and hear what they have to say. One of the opportunities we had recently is after our survey, they went out, Troy and I stepped out and we had our counselors run that meeting, and when they went over some of the student responses or whatnot, just to see with us not in the room what the responses be. Because sometimes kids like to hear or like to say what we want to hear. And so we wanted to give them as much opportunity to be authentic and be real to that scenario. So again, it's been a great opportunity for us to get feedback from the student group and hearing what their perception is of what's happening at our school. Inclusion efforts, again, I've already talked about that process, but at all times, again, just we want all of our students to feel safe and be a part of everything at Deer Brook High School. Note cards, again, super fortunate. I had Joe Vice, I'm the principal, and having Troy again be the next guy for me. Most of these are a lot of his ideas, but big piece is sending a note card home. So staff meetings, every staff meeting we have, a big PLC there together. Troy has the staff again go through and they collect 3 or 4 note cards that they're going to send home as a postcard to a student within the building to connect. And we've had a lot of good success again going back from responses from families saying, I didn't even know that you were there. So the process of finding ways to connect. So another connection again for our student well-being. Positive, they talk about the slide pictures in the comments. So again, if they're having the wrestling banquet right now, but in our comments area throughout lunch and actually throughout the whole day, there's a slideshow running. It's updated at all times. It has different events and different things that happen throughout our school, whether it's representing, like our girls basketball team winning league and districts, to students and academically doing a great job. So again, it's an opportunity for us to promote our students and our school at all times so that they get recognition. Plus, it's promoted throughout the day. And if you sit there and watch at lunch, kids notice, especially when there's a slide up there and they pay attention. So that has also been a pretty good success. And then the last one on this one, Froyo Party. So again, it's one of those ideas, how do we honor those students who have worked hard in the classroom. So talking about students and figuring out if we made the honor roll, how we're going to represent that. One of the things we're going to try this year again is just a Froyo Party. Sounds minimal, but at the same time, it goes a long ways for some of those students. And just any way we connect, promote, and hopefully show that getting grades or working part of the classroom is important. So it might be minor, but again, I think there's a lot of kids that it'll be a big deal for them. So.
All right, so goal 3 around families and community. Sorry, there's lots of stuff we do around here. It's hard to kind of condense it all down. We do our decade program, puts on night at the North Pole. Hopefully a lot of you have seen that or been a part of that. Super cool event where we're getting all the little kids into our school and being excited for around the holiday times. This will be year 3 that we'll be offering a career fair in April for students. We'll try to bring in as many college and careers and trades and you name it. We try for all the opportunities that students, we try to get those things out there. We've had students literally get summer job offers, this career fair. So we'll continue to work on that. We'll do it again this year. All of our shop, a lot of our stuff we do in our shop classes is literally people from the community getting a hold of Kevin, our instructor, and saying, "Hey, I need this made." That kind of thing, right? And which is really cool because it gives them very practical, relevant things. The kids can then see their work when they're out in the community, that kind of thing. So it's a great connection piece that we have here at Deer Park. FFA, you name it, community service wise, like they're everywhere. Like I could list multiple slides here in regards to all the community work that FFA and that group does, and feeding people and organizing things, and it's amazing all the things they take on. I'm part of Rotary, so we do a student of the month there. There's 4 local schools. So we do a student of the month as part of the Rotary group and celebrate them. And that goes on social media and out in the community as well. And then our counselors do a tremendous job, Kirsten and Shelley. They're starting to put together more programs and offering those up at conference time this last fall. We had different topics that they led sessions on. One about graduation requirements. One was about options for 11th and 12th graders around college and the high school, running Starter Skills Center, and offer those up for the community. We're going to continue to do those to invite people in to learn more so that they feel knowledgeable when their students are signing up for classes. And then the Skill Center piece as another option there as well. Another couple of things they've offered up this year, financial aid information. It's a presentation, which is a big deal. And then the bottom one is a big focus. You've probably seen billboards around and everything else. It's a huge focus. The whole Spokane and surrounding area is getting students and parents to fill out the FAFSA. For whatever reason, it's a big barrier for a lot of folks. And so we're trying to push through that. And so they offered a FAFSA support night, and we're going to continue to offer those pieces for folks to come in where we have actual experts in the FAFSA that are available to help families do those pieces.
The flood outside. Okay, so again, coming back to the communication piece. So 3-week progress. So we want to make sure that parents are getting this information as best we possibly can. So we pump out every 3 weeks progress report from each teacher so each student will get back going home via email. And again, it's that process to hopefully parents are well informed by the end of this deal and make sure we have that connection. Parent student teacher meetings, once again, we meet. Sometimes I feel like that's my job is to meet with people, but the reality is as many opportunities as we can with our students to meet with the families and with the teachers. Again, going back to the contract thing we were talking about earlier is having teachers and students work through figuring out how to improve and have that conversation with parents and families on how to get a kid over the edge and get them where they need to be. So a big piece for us again is making sure we have open communication. Special education and transition. And so again, just for the community piece of it, our students as they're transitioning, it doesn't matter any student in our building, but specifically our students in special ed, we want to have that opportunity for them to be out in the community to gain some of those social and those work experiences. And a big part of us is how we represent ourselves as students and as our staff that are out there with those students in our community, and the community supporting our students on the other reverse side of it. That again, I need that extra support to learn how to have those skills to be in the community. So that's a big piece for us. And Lori Goodnight, when she's done, I mean, that would be a tough place to go because she's a machine. So she does a very good job in that world. So anyway, that's a big piece for us. The last one is STEAM night. So Julian and Lori both elementaries asked us to connect with them and come together with their lab night and come up with an idea where maybe are featuring our CTE programs and supporting their what they have done in the past, of whether it's their math night at Arcadia to some of the different reading things they've done at the elementary and combine it with our high school and hold it here. So we're meeting right now and developing that process to where we'll have a night, again, focused on our CT department along with the Arcadia and with elementary to combine both schools, again, to bring community in. And referring quickly back to like DECA, that's the first real time I've spent the entire time at the Night at North Pole. It's amazing. And if you get an opportunity to be at the Night at North Pole, just seeing families and the impact, it's huge. And our facility is unbelievable. So just to showcase that, plus the opportunity for our kids to work with the kids in the community, it's huge. So I'm hoping that the SEEM night has the same effect. We get a good turnout from both elementary and from the Arcadia. So.
If you're not familiar with the acronym STEAM, science, technology, engineering, and math focus. So if you picture Night at the North Pole, that was in the Commons with the little guys. Now open up our whole school to a lot of our programs, and our kids are going to be running those when the little ones are running around, going to these different places. Our high school kids are going to be running those classes that night with them. So I'm excited to kind of see what that. We're going to try it, see what happens, and go from there. And then last, some of this hopefully you can just read as well. We have lots of great success going on at the school as well in a variety of different areas. We had our first slow pitch joining the GSL. We added slow pitch for our girls as a option for them. So this is our kind of inaugural season of slow pitch softball. DECA, we have 30 students that qualified for state, and that's this week. Skills USA, you can see we have 2 of the top finishers in the region that have moved on to the state level. Okay, and FFA, 12 state degrees, 5 American degrees. I wasn't in FFA myself, but I know that's a lot of work, what I've heard about everything. So that's super impressive, the folks that are doing that and all the different state competitions they're involved in. And the list, Erica gave me like 3 pages of stuff. And I'm like, well, Erica, I can't go over all that tonight. So just know that very involved, that group. And then our wrestlers just got done with state. So you can see the finishes there. Our girls team finished 15th in state, and our boys finished 5th. We almost had a state champion. He lost in the final at his weight class. And then girls basketball, it's well documented after last season, and they're doing really well this year. And we're on to state now with that group. Our cheer was 4th at state, and then band choir. We had 6 students place really well at a solo ensemble festival, and then we have 2 moving on to state. And then I want to highlight our pep band, because if you've been to any of our games and activities, it's a lot of work. They've been to 18 different sets of games this year. That's a lot of nights, a lot of late nights, and that's a lot of effort that they put into it. But they bring energy, and we notice when there's ever a game where they're not there. It's just kind of like it's like being in the library, like kind of just boring, right? And we tell Corey that all the time. Like they just bring a nice energy, and they're always into it and having fun and that kind of thing. So it's a great group to have. So that's what we have. Any questions?
It's a comment. We're ready to head over to the donuts again.
Friday night at West Valley.
Yeah, Friday West Valley, and then we win that, we wouldn't have to play again until the following Thursday.
I was just going to thank you for doing all these things and giving all the kids, every kid an opportunity. I mean, we all have kids who get through the system, we've gone through the system. I would have done well if I hadn't had multiple things in the system. So thanks for bringing the fun back. The joke wasn't fun, but.
No, it's good to get those things going. Thank you. So it's a credit to our staff too. We have a great group here.
The staff to leader relationship is very positive across the board. So it's a tribute to the work that our staff does alongside administrators do alongside with their staff. Their staff believes in them and they're willing to follow them. And Troy and Chad have made some adjustments and they've done it quite well. So, thanks you guys for your hard work.
Thanks for
Have a good night.
listening.
Welcome, Mr. Park. Claire, nice to see you.
It's good to see you.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Mr. Park.
So, good evening, members of the board, Dr. Almond. I'm going to say a few words and then I will introduce these ladies. You can just sit here. And then let them talk a little bit about their experience this past year. So we've been having practices in the auditorium on Mondays and Wednesdays since January. We will crown the 71st Miss Deer Park on Saturday, March 15th. It's crazy, right? Going back to 1954. Again, just want to express our gratitude for the use of the facility, for the support that you guys give us, but the support that the school gives us in letting us do this here. Ted is great to work with. And I have to say, I've been volunteering for the program since 2010. You were the first superintendent to come visit our ladies. So thank you for doing that. That was huge. So this year we're giving out over $15,000 in scholarships. We have 9 individual categories that are sponsored by businesses. Those include community service. We have one that we've done for the past 5 years. This is the final year, unless we decide and they decide that they'll continue. It's called Be the Light. We also have a Spirit of Miss Deer Park that the girls will run. We have a presence in composure, fitness, creative and performing arts, self-expression, scholastic, and then judges interview. And then the other donations all go into a pool and they're divided out for our Miss Deer Park and then the 2 princesses. So, I will happily introduce Miss Deer Park 2024, Piper, and she will take it from here with the princesses Olivia and hi, I'm Piper, and she says, I'm Miss Deer Park 2024. This is my princess. Princess Abby. I think you guys should say it first.
Okay. I would just once again like to thank you for all the support. And it's a very eventful year. We've won awards at single parade. Parade, yeah. That was 10 parades, so in fact, it's like 10 awards. We went all over the place with North Canada. And I think it was a very successful year. I know I'm talking about parades, so she's going to talk about events.
So we've gone to multiple open houses. We've gone to, we were attending Winterfest. We just recently did Sweet Apple Pie. And we will be doing the Settlers Dinner Auction on March 1st. So hopefully we could see you guys there. That'd be awesome. It's at 6 o'clock. Yep. Please, the food is delicious. So since we're talking about awards, this year has been such a blast. It's actually really bittersweet to video for Crown in less than 4 weeks. So it's kind of sad, but I'm really excited to see who our successes are. This year's been a lot of fun. Just getting to know these girls and then kind of even though they were strangers when I first met them, very first day of practice. When we went to our first parade, we didn't know what we were doing. The first thing ever was so cool. But we actually ended up winning. And that was huge for us. We got very accomplished. And it's funny because we were in pouring rain and it was hailing at the 3rd parade we ever went to. And it was just so cold. But these girls have been so amazing. And we put a smile on their face every single parade. And just made my year such an amazing year. So thank you, ladies. Not to say that we haven't had a winning year, we've had such a winning year. We had one parade where the last girls and the girl before that, and then every girl before that, they got 3rd place, and we actually ended up breaking that streak, and we got 2nd place, which was really awesome for us. And that was our longest parade ever. It was full day, and we were there from 9 in the morning, and then 12 o'clock at night because it's when I barely made home. So that was really fun. Sad to say that we didn't keep happening. But we got second place, and then we also did soccer, which was really fun. We actually ended up winning grand sweepstakes, which is the best award you can get. So even above first place. So that was very awesome.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Me too.
So, and then just real quick, just like the high school doing changes, we had to make some changes a couple of years ago. So historically, this program was open up to juniors. We opened it up to sophomores. So how many of you were sophomores when you were crowned?
All of us.
All of us, yes. So it's made a huge difference. So we have 6 fantastic young ladies that are at practice right now. We're gonna wrap up and head down there and join them. But if you would like to come to the program, we would love to see you. We sell tickets at practice Mondays and Wednesdays. The program again is Saturday, March 15th. It's at 6 p.m. So hope to see you guys there.
And thank you again for all of the support. It was cool and you, especially. Thank you. The world all took us.
Great. Like, we're hard.
Thank you.
A lot of work.
Yeah.
Guess I picked one. Favorite parade you guys went to.
For you, Spokane Torchlight Parade.
Mm-hmm. That was the longest one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to go ahead.
I would say it's a tie between the torchlight. Isn't it also the lilac parade? I know it is. It was between that and Wenatchee, which was our first one.
I really liked Leavenworth, which it's like one of our last parades, but I just felt like I really got to bond with these girls. We had a lot of free time since it was an overnight like weekend parade. And so we got to go like shopping and it was super fun. We got to have it was like this breakfast thing with our parents, so our mom got to be a part of it, so that was really fun. And just the actual loyalty from there, Leavenworth was so sweet. And then I think we also met Miss America Union, so that was really cool. We got to hear her play her ensemble for piano. So that was amazing. I really liked it. Leavenworth.
Got a question.
Yes.
I'm getting really sick and tired of the float song that plays.
I'm not supposed to say
Are
this,
you
but
gonna miss it?
I know.
it's gonna be playing in our heads every night for the rest of our life.
Yeah, do the routine for the rest of your life.
Yeah, every time I hear it, it's like, oh. It's a lot of things.
Thanks so much for representing the town. I know we have a lot of different spaces and places, and we're out representing our hometown community. Well done.
Perfect. Thank you.
You too. You
guys can't hear, there's plenty of chairs right up there. Right? I see people who like to go.
pieces that I've been working on, I know you get them weekly updates, so you kind of have an idea what I do right. But right now, I'm doing part of strategic planning. That PTOs, PTA, parent groups, they all have different things. I'm visiting each of the schools just to let them know the event, the job workforce and that we for us to the future. Different school district in the next 5 to 10 years. You are well aware of the hundreds of bills that could potentially affect education that are working directly. Doing the very best I can to track those. Need to take some time to see the bills that are still alive. But thankfully, I know that our voice does matter because it doesn't matter who. The last piece that I'll share with you that I think is sort of news is, Cheney passed their bond back in November. Valley just passed their bond too, and it wasn't back validated. They passed their bond at almost 65%. So the Hope Park community and there's just focused on that in terms of community and making sure that we're moving on this. Some of the other ones passed, but we didn't quite reach. And nearly all of the capital levies that were run passed, with the exception of 2. So there were 18 measures on the ballot, 16 passed for the capital levy, 6 ran for the bond, 3 passed. So just the sense of kind of state where we're at, the bond and levies. So that's about it. I'll turn it over to Brendan.
Enrollment is down 3 students from January. That's not out of the norm around this time of year. Our biggest impact that we saw this last month was students from home. We lost? Yeah, we lost 12 FTE from home and then gained about 12 in the traditional school. So sometimes kids from home are coming to traditional schools, so that's kind of shift. But down from 3 from last year, last month, and we're still holding strong with that. So, sure.
Any questions for? Have a chance to look at the consent agenda. Discussion?
Yeah, got a few questions on the consent agenda. So the minutes, the vouchers, the payroll, all the financials are rolled into one. Vote. Instead of being, why are minutes not approved separately from the financials? One of the other meeting I heard into, the minutes are voted on, approved, and the financials are voted on, and approved. So it's like if I disapprove the minutes, and I okay with financials, I'm unable to sign for consent items because I disagree with minutes.
We don't give you system, maybe we can vote against that.
Right, but I can't sign any vouchers if I disagree with minutes. That's how we've been doing it for months.
For years. The consent agenda is common practice amongst other districts and everything, so. If there's something that you wish to change in the minutes that is valid and not just you disagree with the way it's presented. Then
But that's a good reading. Let me talk about the minutes. First one is
we have a motion on the table right now.
right to
Do you have
discussion.
direct comments about the minutes?
I had comments in the discussion for the minutes.
About something that was miscommunicated in the.
Correct. So on 21 January, where's my objections when I got ambushed and it was not on the agenda? It was not on the agenda.
That's not.
And you said it was in the board discussion.
I brought it up as board discussion.
Right.
Because it needed to be acted upon.
It did, but it wasn't on the agenda.
So
Okay, also, why do the minutes do not reflect my rebuttal?
did you vote no?
I gave a rebuttal. This discussion talks about what you said. It doesn't say anything I said. So the minutes do not reflect my discussion. Good. On the training that you guys did on the 20th, it said I was unexcused. You were not. I came to the meeting and presented a letter. That is not in the minutes. In that letter, it says that I am attacked, harassed anytime I'm in this small group with you guys.
That is the training that's put on.
So I have a letter-
Education of all of us.
That documents why I did not attend, and that's not part of these minutes. Also, I read the letter with the witness of my wife, my daughter, as to why I was not in attendance. That's one, okay? So it was not acknowledged in these minutes.
Okay, but you
Okay,
did
so
not
that's-
let us know ahead of time, you did not let.
Right, but the minutes do not reflect, but I brought a letter saying I didn't attend because I'm not about to be ambushed and attacked. Let's talk about the 10 February minutes as well. Where's my rebuttal in those minutes? Where's the 20 minutes that I asked for so that I can submit my own rebuttal during this week?
I told you were not gonna get 10 minutes.
I asked for it.
You did, and I said, no, we are not.
So why not?
We are here to discuss things for the general board discussion, not to be lectured to by one of us.
I'm being accused and about to be censored. And I don't get my day in court, essentially, so.
We had that on when we talked about the session.
So, all right, just for the record, and I asked for 20 minutes of last meeting, and I just asked for it again today. So we'll see how that goes.
It's not on the agenda.
Was there a cost of lawyers used for all the work to do the censorship and all the other work last year?
Lawyers have reviewed what we have.
Right, is there a cost? You asked for it. Did you provide it? Do I have it?
You have what?
The cost of the lawyers that were used?
I don't have the specific cost.
Are you working on it? Are you working on that cost that Craig asked for? I am. I'm trying to get.
Please, thank you.
What are you, I'm.
Craig asked for a breakout of all the costs that the lawyers used for the censorship and all the other, presume, all the
I don't
other.
recall the board directly meeting.
Great.
We
They
did
have
not
a board and
direct
Craig
as a
is.
board.
Okay,
The board would do it.
so we don't have a cost of the lawyers, cost of the lawyers to.
There's
come to
a
this-
lot of lawyers' fees are every month.
Right. And how much was attributed to Jerry Ashby, director? How many none?
Because it comes as one fee to us.
All right, so I just approve the minutes as
You
written.
disagree with the minutes.
That's for a vote, so you know. Okay. I also want to talk about the financials. Last month I want to thank Brendan, who provides us 10K plus. So we can pull out of the 2 pages of vouchers or more. During that, I like to review the actual statement that we all signed against the 10K plus. On that, I found some discrepancy. Did not get an opportunity to talk to Brendan. I would like to still do that because I found the discrepancy in adding some of those together. So that's where I'm at on those. Okay. Other than that, have no other problem with the human resources report, the payroll report, the vouchers I'll look at at the end of the meeting and compare them against the 10K plus report.
Does anybody else have anything? to say? All right, all those in favor of the consent agenda, say aye. Motion. Those opposed, not this. Thank you. All right, board discussion. We have a letter to community staff, and I'm gonna read that. And then session. Dear staff, students, and community members, I hope this letter finds you well. As chair of the Deer Park School Board, I am writing to inform you about the important matter concerning one of our board directors, Jerry Ashby, who has been legally censured by the school board on January 21st, 2025. Regrettably, Jerry Ashby has engaged in actions that are not in alignment with the values and ethical standards upheld by the school board. Specifically, Jerry Ashby has operated outside the scope of his legal and board authority on multiple occasions. These actions do not reflect the beliefs or decisions of the school board. One notable and recent example includes the dissemination of inaccurate information using district letterhead to create unwarranted semblance of authority. Additionally, Mr. Ashby continues to work as an individual and not with the team, which further undermines the integrity of our governance. On January 13, Mr. Ashby wrote and distributed a letter to the Facilities Advisory Committee on letterhead. In the letter, he cited his views as to why the bond did not pass and his feedback to the group and his perspective moving forward. Additionally, he disseminated on letterhead the DPSD facility strategic plan that contained inaccurate, incomplete, and information which was not authorized or created by the district. We want to emphasize the critical importance of transparency and trust between the school board and our stakeholders. It is essential that you understand Director Ashley does not represent the board, and any information he disseminates should not be taken at face value without verification. Please know that we are committed to maintaining the highest standards of conduct and accountability. We believe transparency is vital for fostering trust within our community. We will continue to work diligently to ensure that our actions reflect our shared values and commitments. Thank you for your understanding and continued support. Signed by me as my school board. This was a letter that was put together and will be going out to the public. So with that,
So is this where I make an opportunity to provide my rebuttal?
if you wish to right now, we have it for approval down here, which I prefer to do that.
Well,
This is
so,
for discussion.
let's talk about parliamentary procedure first. Let's say, so I was accused on the 27th of January, right?
And had a chance at that day to provide your.
And I did, which didn't get included in the minutes. Then again, I was, again accused on 10th February, and I did get some rebuttal at that, which also did not get included in the minutes. Now I have my letter, so I can read my rebuttal without interruption or
You're not getting
interference.
20 minutes.
Well,
We can have it and we can read it.
No, I will read it.
No,
You're not allowing me to read it?
not the whole thing, no.
It's got 3 pages. Anyone here from the Tribune? The Gazette? Interesting. Okay,
If you want to pass those out, we will review.
I have my 3 minutes, and I will read. So. Okay, so I write this to the constituents, the community members, Deer Park School Board, and Superintendent. I will kind of briefly and fast. When I took office in December 2000, you would be facing challenges, or did not expect to endure repeated harassment over the entire time, led by Eric Keller and other members of the school board, while I promoted transparency and investigated important issues surrounding homeland transportation facilities and financials. I ran for office for 2 reasons. One, to oust Gary Breckner with unethical behavior during the
We're not going to.
which I report to.
No, Jerry, we're not going to.
I'm
attack
also
people
to-
in the.
To restore the trust in our district and school for mishandling the uses called out in my campaign. When I took the oath of office to fulfill my elected duties on the Deer Park School Board, I set to work under 3 main principles for my constituents: represent their wishes, keep them informed, and protect their voice. I have done that to the best of my ability. However, I am sorry to report to the constituents that 4 other school board members and our superintendent have worked against me from day one. They do not understand that transparency means clear as glass, like a picture window, not a bathroom window that is clouded or frosted. They call that translucent or opaque. Unfairly, your school board and your superintendent deliberately shield the constituents from unfavorable information by filtering the minutes and not fully documenting what is said during school board meetings. In fact, I complained so much, the school board passed a resolution last summer preventing me from complaining about the minute format, AKA allowing the filtering of information. Don't worry, I still complain. The school board director from the other part of the state told me something very profound last month. She said, absence of information is lying. I have protected my constituents' voice by writing official letters to the school board director because I want you to know that I am working on and what issues the issues are. For example, I knew there was considerable unfairness and unrest. Oh no, I will continue to
No,
read.
you will not.
You
You got,
Are
you
you
said
infringing?
3 minutes.
You are
It's 3
infringing on the
minutes.
20 minutes that I requested.
No, you said you were gonna take 3 minutes, it's now.
Oh, I'm trying to read it fast, but I have
No,
20 minutes.
No, you do not. Okay,
All right, so,
so we have,
okay, let me read the last one. I think you'll find it.
okay, last one.
Okay, ready? It's the last paragraph. To the board, the 4 remaining Deer Park School Board members and the superintendent, I have initiated a number of investigations. Let me be the first to inform you, you are in a heap of trouble. putting our school district at great risk. When the investigators come and ask direct questions of your gross misconduct on multiple levels, do not insult the investigators with "I did not know" or "I was just following Eric's lead." After all the allegations are substantiated, our constituents and the community will expect your immediate resignations.
Thank you. So I will be signing this letter to be sent out to our district folks. All right, the next thing I'm going to read is its resolution that we talked about at the last board meeting. And it's rather long, but very good. So, all right, Deer Park School Board hereby issues a public censure expressing disapproval of board member Jerry Ashby's violation of board policies, adopted protocols, and undermining board decisions. There's a lot of whereases here, so please bear with me. Whereas the board continues to be deeply committed to the effective operation of the board in order to provide positive, constructive governance and leadership to the Deer Park School District, which is more known as a district. Whereas policy 1825 that the board states that the board outlines a process to recognize when a member engages in deliberate or continuing violations of the law, board policy, or lapses in good judgment, and risks the loss of community confidence and damages the board's ability to govern effectively. Whereas on December 11th, board member Jerry Ashby took an oath to support the Constitution of the United States and the state of Washington and to promote the interests of education and faithfully discharge the duties of his office to the best of his ability. Whereas board member Jerry Ashby violated policy 1450 and 1220, which states board members will give advance notice to the president or superintendent of his or her inability to attend board meeting by missing two training work sessions, 3 special meetings, 1 executive meeting in less than 1 year, and without advance notice. Whereas board member Jerry Ashby violated RCW 28A, this has all been reviewed by attorneys. So violated RCW 28A.343.100 on policy 18.2, which requires education equity training by failing to complete the required training. Whereas policy 1810 and policy 1820 state the board will annually formulate goals and objectives to guide board governance and conduct board self-assessment and engage in board development activities where needed by board member Jerry Ashby not attending the board retreat session. Whereas board member Jerry Ashby submitted 4 frivolous complaints against board member and others to local authorities in retaliation for board members and others as they were performing their regular duties. Whereas board member Jerry Ashby violated policy 4201, which promotes mutual respect, civility, and orderly conduct among district employees, parents, and the public by repeatedly creating fear, intimidation, and frustration for a district employee by raising his voice at her, repeatedly interrupting her during presentations, and continuing to make her feel targeted through public records requests. Whereas board member Jerry Ashby violated the board's adopted operating protocols, which state the board will work in partnership with the community and will recognize positive actions and accomplishments of parents, staff, students, community members, and each other by harassing, intimidating, and bullying of 2 employees and having to be directed not to contact either of the employees by the board and district and by unprofessional communication with the superintendent. Whereas board member Jerry Ashby violated the board's adopted operating protocols, which state the board respects the decisions of the majority after honoring the right of individual board members by undermining the board's decision around the approval of the format of meeting minutes, despite the board voting on and approving the structure and format of the minutes on September 9th, 2024. Whereas board member Jerry Ashby violated policy 1005 and board adopted operating protocols by deviating from the board's roles and responsibilities and operating outside the scope of the board members' key functions and duties. Whereas board member Jerry Ashby has requested 6 public record requests, causing the district additional costs and resources, including legal counsel. Whereas Board Member Jerry Ashby failed to attend the WASDA 2024 annual conference that he was registered and paid for by the district. Whereas Board Member Jerry Ashby has been given a warning of formal censure on December 9th, 2024 board meeting for his conduct regarding the meeting minutes. Whereas Board Member Jerry Ashby is formally censured by the board on January 21st for the misuse of district letterhead, Deer Park School District letterhead, for providing the facility strategic plan B 1.0 on January 13th, 2025. Whereas Board Member Jerry Ashby's conduct was investigated by Claris Solutions, which issued a report on February 5th, and he was found to have intimidated an employee and violated policy 4201. Whereas censure by a public body is a collective judgment of stern commendation of one of its members for behaviors or actions that violates laws or policy, it is also a formal public act of disapproval of a member's unacceptable conduct, and now therefore be it resolved, like I said, it's a long thing, sorry. Be resolved that this board does hereby censure, disavow, and formally express its disapproval of Board Member Jerry Ashby's conduct described above. Be further resolved that the board does hereby direct Board Member Jerry Ashby to properly perform his duties as a board member by understanding his roles and responsibilities as a board member. Be further resolved that the board hereby direct Board Member Jerry Ashby to respect the duties of employees, including the superintendent. Be it further resolved that the board hereby direct Board Member Jerry Ashby to refrain from uncivil conduct when interacting with district employees, including but not limited to raising his voice, interrupting presentations of and targeting district employees. Be further resolved that the board hereby direct Board Member Jerry Ashby to honor the decisions voted and agreed upon by the board. We are a board of 5. Be it further resolved that the board hereby direct Board Member Jerry Ashby to attend board meetings unless properly excused. Be it further resolved that the board hereby direct Board Member Jerry Ashby to complete mandatory training as required by law. Be it further resolved that the board hereby direct Board Member Jerry Ashby to comply with applicable law, board policy, operating protocols, and procedures. Be it further resolved that the board hereby direct Board Member Jerry Ashby to cease and desist from engaging in disrespectful treatment of district employees, including the superintendent, members of the public, fellow board members.
So my letter that I read to you, that I did not get to finish, discussed a number of principles within this. So just for the record, let it be known that I had rebuttals for passages within this, and I was not allowed to reveal them.
So,
Because the harassment things that occurred were unlawfully conducted. Those harassment discussions that you had in the executive sessions on the 6th of November and 10th February were unlawfully conducted.
not according to our legal attorney, not according to our legal counsel.
Well, you guys did not give the legal counsel the correct information.
We gave the information that they was presented to us. So.
Okay, you're gonna find out the hard way. That's what I'm trying to share with you.
You have filed multiple complaints with.
Who did?
You did, you told us.
Who Jerry Ashby who? Jerry Ashby school board or Jerry Ashby school teacher? Think about that one.
You are not a school teacher.
Those letters of harassment were written by Jerry Ashby only teacher, volunteer. They were not written by Jerry Ashby school board.
When you take the oath of office, there is, and you are not teaching at our school. You become a board member. You represent the board to the community, you represent the community to the.
That harassment was done before I became school board director.
No, it was not.
Yes, it did.
Okay, we're not gonna argue.
Well, you guys are gonna learn the hard way.
So.
That you falsely accused me as a director for harassment when I did not. And then he used my public records request as evidence of harassment. Requesting public records request is not harassment. Every citizen in the United States has a right to pull records in the public. By pulling them is not harassment.
Depends on what you were using them for and everything.
It doesn't
So
matter.
we have had legal counsel review this and go over it, both the letter and the resolution. So we are gonna cease that right now. Joanne, we have items to report. Okay, thank you. So we have consideration of action items. I have read the letter, to community staff and, students for the censure. I would ask for a motion.
Move to approve the censure.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Naturally, myself.
Motion passes. I will sign that and get that letter out to the team. Resolution number 2, 2024, former censure director Gerald F. Ashby. I would ask for motion, please.
Move to approve formal censure.
All those, any discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Adoption of board protocols. So last year, we came up with board protocols with the help of a WASDA representative. Basically, it tells us how we are going to operate as a board. We've all had input on these, and we said at the beginning of that we would review them every year and make changes and updates in how we will operate as a board to help govern the schools. So, this is coming to us for approval because we, at our work session, went over and we made some changes to them. So I would ask for a motion, please. Right, any discussion?
I do. Oh, sorry.
Is
Yeah.
it okay? I just want to say there was one ad that I caught and Alexa has added them there. And so it's just simply adding the school board operating protocol at the very bottom with the page number. I just want to clarify that, 'cause it's different than what was in the packet, and thank you for doing that.
So this was brought to the last school board. And I have the red lines from last, and so let me read the one. The board wishes to solve problems, this is an ad. The board wishes to solve problems without demanding a particular approach. That seems like it's directed to Jerry Ashby, school board director. Right? So when I talk about transparency and how we should do things more openly within minutes, I should be open to do that without being censored.
We voted,
So-
we discussed the minutes.
You-
Last year, we voted on the minute format.
So, okay, so.
So
but
we should
now
not be discussing that every week.
I always reserve the right to discuss the minutes if
Okay,
they're
but we
correct.
voted on them, on the format.
Does all my directors approve of that?
Yes, we all voted.
All right, well, just for the public record.
Well, let me say something too. So that's always been the point of contention was the format, and that's what you bring up every time, that's what you brought up tonight. Mostly, so that's what we voted on, that's what we agreed on, that's what we're moving forward with as a majority of the board.
Right, so the format where it leaves out critical information.
Okay, point of
It's okay,
order.
okay, all right, let's go to the next one, because we beat down the dead horse, so I made my point. The board aims to solve problems that protect the dignity of every human being, do not care who the streets credit. Is this where I said, I brought up the idea of trying to go after the transportation facility as a main point for the bond, and that's what we're, so where's, what's, where's that going?
That's the way we're going to move forward.
Why was that added?
think we were looking at the dignity index.
I was gonna say,
Oh,
we
yeah,
reviewed the
dignity
dignity index. from
And the
one of
WASDA
our
conference.
The WASDA
Okay.
conference and the training, so we added it.
Okay, all right, let's go to the next one. Board members who wish to meet with staff will first communicate with the superintendent. So if I did that last year when I was trying to work with HomeLink to find out the issues there that I knew were there from the time I taught. And then I felt the superintendent interfered in those communications. And I did not get a meeting with the principal and its staff to talk about those issues. In fact, you guys passed a resolution to prevent me from discussing HomeLink issues, like we did with the minutes. I'm a school board director, the superintendent is a subordinate to the board.
She works for the board, not for you.
Didn't say that, she works for the board, but I don't report to the superintendent.
No, you report with
So-
all of us.
So if I have critical information I wish to research or to find, I should.
What we're saying is, when we are board members, when we go to the schools,
Right,
we are looked at as a board member. So it is not fair to the schools nor to any of the staff for us to show up unannounced. Okay, and if we asked for your other thing for the HomeLink, we had Gretchen, the HomeLink principal, come to multiple board meetings to
Yes.
discuss it, as well as do multiple.
and while I asked questions, I had members of the board interfere with my questions, and so when I tried to take it offline, I was prevented.
We do
So,
not go
I
offline
think
because we do not work independently.
I think in the essence of working with the superintendent, I think that's a good practice. But when I think the superintendent is interfering with my ability to get to the ground truth, then I don't think I need to go through the superintendent.
These
to
are
get
operating
Financials,
protocols.
facilities, or any other questions I
This is
have
how
as a school
we as
board
a board
director
are
in
going
an
to manage.
investigation.
It is important for the superintendent to know that you are desiring to speak to the staff.
Right, and
And so
when I did
that is
that last
also
year with
in the
HomeLink,
training,
the superintendent interfered in those conversations.
again.
Well, they work
So,
for her, not
why-
for you.
So
The only
Again,
person
why
that
would I
works
trust?
for the board is Alexa.
again,
The
I
rest
made
of
my
them
point
work
clear.
for her. They're
And
the
I will
hierarchy.
have full access to the staff to
You
find
will,
investigate.
no, you will not.
Any public person.
No, they
Access.
do not.
It's in the resolution. for
Okay.
So,
Go ahead. Any further discussion about the board operating protocol?
No, I appreciate the additions that we've had working towards that.
It says we will review them and look at them every year to make updates so that we act as a good board and do what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be at the 50,000 foot level, making policy, procedures, and ensuring that the superintendent has what she needs, direction from us to proceed with her job.
And might I add too, these roles and responsibilities are for every board member. It's not targeted just at one. We will all be held to the same standard.
Yes. All right, we have a motion on the floor for approval. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Opposed. All right. So, thank you, motion passes. We have some policies for first read, non-discrimination, affirmative action, red line 5010. Alexa, we can just go over those quickly.
I sent them in your, sorry, I didn't bring the red line with me today, sorry.
Okay.
I'm gonna go before the night.
you want a copy?
Oh, okay.
So one of the civil rights reviews, and you guys have had a couple weeks to look at these. Actually, this is like the third or fourth week that I've had a chance to look at these. We moved them back to first read, I think, because you wanted to see them redlined, correct? So you've got the non-discrimination, you've got the model handbook language, the definition of discriminatory harassment, the complaints procedure, information about the compliance officer, the prohibition of retaliation, that's the gist of the policy. 3210 is pertaining to students, 5010 is pertaining to staff and personnel that comes to non-discrimination. We've got 3210 here about students. I don't have the staff one, but the staff one is also about the affirmative action. You can see the red lines.
Yeah.
And then hopefully not taking into second read. These are required by the state law, so.
All right. The motion. Any discussion? All those in favor of moving from first read those three policies, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, we have an executive session for evaluation of the superintendent. We will probably be, let's see, it's only 7 minutes, so not more than a half an hour. So
We adjourn it directly after.
yeah, we will adjourn directly after. There will be no action taken.
We missed the facilities discussion.
Oh,
Do you want to go
sorry,
back and
yes,
talk about
please.
capital projects?
Yeah, sorry.
So just in terms.
Oh,
Sorry, I'm
Yep,
just,
you're good.
I realize
Thank
that handout's still sitting here.
I didn't-
So we've met as a board, talking about ideas and plans for the capital projects and where to go next. Met with the facilities advisory committee, was able to get their perspective and point of view when we were, I shared the docs with you all in a Friday update, so you could see where we landed. That was, so the majority of the facilities advisory committee looked at the 4-year capital levy. Most of the votes were in the $1.45 for 4 years to be able to accomplish the land purchase, the road development. That's a big ticket item. Talking about the transportation facility and then the improvements needed at Arcadia, from the roof to the carpets to the siding to the fencing. Also looking at the district-wide intercom system, that's about 30 years old. And fixing that for safety and security for the kids. We talked about the phones, the emergency alert system, and the intercom system now all being digital and being connected, so that would be a pretty good price tag. So we talked about those pieces moving forward. Since then, we've had the opportunity, Steve, Brendan, and I met with the transportation team, kind of did an outline of the goals, where we were, wanting to know if they were interested or not in a new transportation facility, and I would say it was about 70-30. Folks. I know you've also asked for us to produce a facilities plan, looking at the 10-year projection. We've done some research around different districts just to see what they have. There's not a lot out there. There aren't a lot as it relates to school districts, but that's the thing. And I really appreciate Steve putting a lot of time into this. Has come up with a 10-year projection and a 25-year projection. Of course, these are all estimates, and it's a rolling. It's rolling because it depends on what happens in the near future. That impacts the whole entire rest of the plan. So there's a 10-year and a 25-year projection that's been provided for you. So it gives you an idea of each of the different facilities, where they land and what those estimated budget costs look like.
Sure, Tom, thanks. Come on.
Spent some time on that. I think that, when I met with the Arcadia staff, there was some frustration that we were not able to build a new elementary school. I felt that. I've been able to wrap in part of the facilities plan, and I think the board might be headed next into the strategic planning process and been wrapping it into the facilities piece. And so I think they understand, but I think that there's frustration because they live in a crowded space with not enough room every day. And so that's the unfortunate reality is not their walls, we're talking millions, which is a bond and a bond. But if we can take those $80 million worth of projects and pare them down and chunk them down into bite-sized pieces, and write some capital levies before we go and run the elementary bond. That would be helpful. There's also some bills out there around 50%, 50 and 55. So some of you I know take a position. That will help us in the future.
So if you feel like writing to your legislator, this is a great time that you wish to bring that bond level down to a simple majority, that would be really awesome. Because Lindsay and I and Alexis spent some time in Olympia trying to talk, when we didn't just talk with our legislators, we talked with like 12 of them, or 8, felt like 12. And try to get our thing across, different things that we were looking.
I'm not in agreement. I believe that the voters, we should keep it at 60% so that the voters have the ultimate power, and we have to prove to them that it's worth.
So it is not, it will not go on that, it will not automatically be down to 60%. Basically, what the bills say is that they will go on the ballot in the fall for the voters to approve it to be
Okay.
60 or 55 or 50%.
Oh, good.
So it will be up to the people to decide. Anything
That's
else?
all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
I know Alexa shared what the facility we came up with, but there's a handful of us after that meeting, like we didn't sleep well with that information. Just because as a taxpayer, that was going to be significantly higher, and yes, the plan is only for 4 years, but that's a hard pill to swallow, and we are not helping our kids. I understand that we keep saying we are, and I hear that, and we are in little ways, but we are not helping the kids. They need those common spaces taken care of. And we're pushing that out 6 years. So I just want to, like, we need community feedback. So you guys come share with us, write us letters, talk to us at games when you see us in the community, because this is a really tough decision. I personally am really struggling with it. And a lot of people who are on the committee with us have called and texted me and talked to me about it. But the heart, we're supposed to be focused on kids, and here we are pushing them out for years. That's really hard. And the next 4 years, that's another presidential cycle. What's happening right now, could it be repeated going the other way? That, there's some fear in that.
It is hard. We need to make the best one meaningful. And right now. Talk about this a
Yeah,
lot.
Eric and I have talked
A lot about whether or not what to do. And right now, we have a very good opportunity probably the only opportunity we're gonna get to purchase the property. We need to move forward with that. The only way we can purchase that is if we do the infrastructure for the road. That's the deal, part of the deal. So we've been told no twice by the voters, that 60% is extremely hard to obtain for a bond, and I agree with you 100%. We have to do something. We have in that plan, and you tell me about it, but a long-term plan that was 4 years for the bond, or for the levy, and then all along that time frame, keeping the voters informed what we're moving forward. We're doing something. We're going to alleviate a huge traffic problem over here. We're going to purchase the property. We're going to facilitate the transportation garage, and portraying all of that plan forward, as well as, let's say, putting lipstick on Arcadia. But it's the infrastructure from Arcadia. It was old when I went there in the I guess the 70s, and it's the same envelope. Our staff does an awesome job of maintaining, like, this building is 20 years old this year. I mean, it looks brand new when you're here. So our staff does a great job. But we need to do something to alleviate some of that in Arcadia. I'm not saying that's gonna help, but some of the fencing on the outside.
I don't know if they can wait that long. We're in to Jerry's point, one of his letters, we're in red at that school for that reason. I don't feel comfortable with pushing aside the kids.
I think we need to continue just to look at it, and like, I know I can name a person here that's called me up. It's like, all of you guys just call us and talk to us, ask the questions. No questions, a dumb question. So we can kind of think through this. The road infrastructure is not a new concept. That did not just show up when I got on here, when I talked with Travis in 2020. I sat down and gave him what I was like, hey, what's the roadway section? Why are we not punching it over to Milan? And so it's not a new thing. It's something that's been a discussion for some time, but it's like, we're just still not right there yet. We're not all comfortable with making that punch of what is the best we can do for the kids now, and then we can move forward with. But I'm really thankful for this data.
So-
that we can look at.
The suggestion I would have is that we have a work session in the next month or so, next month, to just talk about this.
Can we also do another facility committee? Many have said, I'd get together every week if we could just like continue to talk things through. But, I mean, I don't know how, I would like to
I
get
just
more
need a
people from
clear
the community to come. I don't know how to do
Or
that.
the facilities advisory committee meetings.
Wait, what?
I need a clear path and a clear purpose, like what are the goals and outcomes that we're looking for? Because I think we're pivoting a lot.
We are going back and forth. It's- Like at that meeting, I heard the arguments. It makes sense, but I just went home and slept on it. I was like, no.
Okay, so I only see one path forward. And that's, this is documented in my 10 February letter to the school board directors. Essentially, we've got my strong recommendations. We pursue a capital levy at 18 million over 6 years. I suggest the initial proceeds be used to purchase the land and start the immediate requirements process, followed by the architectural designs of all 3 facilities and the road. While you're doing that, because it takes 2 years to do the requirements and the design work. So if you start doing that in parallel to the work that you're doing on the road, that by the time we ask for the large bond by the voters, we've done 2 years of work on the requirements.
If we pass it, if we don't, and it's 6
Or-
years, then we wasted money.
And if we don't pass it, we have plans that are not worth anything because they will be out of date within a year.
There's a
So-
gentleman that
And we'll
just
have
did
to
that.
pay to update
We
that.
just heard earlier that the levies passed at a larger rate than the bonds did, right, capital levies. So,
Yes.
and
It's only
the
50%.
voters will say yes, if we have a good plan laid out. This is a great start of showing the voters that we're thinking about the future, not just the next 3 years. So, and I also called this out in my assessment, it's a bond assessment, back in 26 February of last year. So essentially, let me go on, is that we do things in parallel, we do the requirements and the architecture work in parallel. We work on the road, I don't think there's any stipulation as when the road is completed. It's probably completed at some later date, so I'm not saying we do
Absolutely,
it.
there is in the
Well,
agreement with the city.
that we build a road, but I don't think that
Yes, but we have, it's in there, 2030.
it has to be done by,
Yes.
Yeah,
completed by.
Yes.
and I was asking
Okay.
some of the city council if we could have that changed and have a no in date, like when it has to be completed by, and they told me we could do that. I
Okay.
wonder if that's something we should
We're
pursue, is
negotiating
no
right
end
now.
date.
It's
Right.
with the, it's actually with the city right now.
So
Again,
if we work with the city and we stretch out the construction of the road while we're allowing ourselves to spend money on the requirements process, on the design process, and at the same time, we start getting the transportation facility in place. So by the time we got to maybe the 3rd or 4th year, the transportation facility is almost complete. And we're at a point where we have the requirements and design work done, that we can go back to the voters at the 4-year point and ask them to pass the major bond.
And if
Now, there will be an overlap.
it
And you
doesn't
can
pass,
take, and you can take the new bond and pay off the residual of the existing capital levy, can you
you
not?
cannot.
Okay, well, then we have an overlap of 2 years.
Yeah, which can push like to $3 a thousand, which.
For
Oh,
2
extremely-
years.
Yes.
No one
for
wants
better
to
than
see
that.
elementary.
So again, we're gonna get, like she said earlier, you crunch it into 4 years, you can't get it done. You can't get the requirements done, you can't get the.
We
architecture done.
cannot, we cannot pay, well, it would be really silly for us to pay for plans before we have the approval of the voters to build a facility.
The plans and the requirements are non-depreciable.
Direct all.
So there was a district that did that,
Yes.
and they were out several $1 million because they did not pass the bond. And then all that work and all that time, effort, and energy that they put in was null and void. And that did not look good. So they put $2+ million into the planning process and then didn't pass the bond.
But you can still use it the year after, go to the next bond, the
No,
next year.
because the plans.
So they
change every-
depreciate, they go poof in 1 year.
Not year, but
Design
it has to change.
requirements don't
The code
change. Yes, they
change,
do.
the
Stuff
requirements change.
changes.
The
You
city
made
was-
edits to the existing, you've got money spent on design work and requirements work.
So-
And so there may be
Well, I will,
changes to
we'll go
that,
with whatever.
but it's
the board
not like you
recommends.
threw it
I just say
away.
that another district did that and they got hurt.
Well, I don't know how
It
that's the
happened.
appreciable asset.
I would to the point, agree with Jerry in the fact that that happens in agencies and transportation all the time. That you have to put some design effort,
So,
a 30% design effort in, and then you go for grants again for those projects to move to 60 to 90 to 100. There is some of that happens. It's not a throwaway. We just wouldn't, right, I'm just clarifying that it wouldn't be all throwaway. We just have to be careful about the extent that we go, that then, we have to on here.
right, and
So,
I don't think we spend millions of dollars on that.
Well, then
That
that's
needs
what
to
it's
work. And I'm thinking, $500,000 per facility for the requirements and the design. We get preliminary design work, get preliminary requirements done. And then we show the voters that we've done we've done our legwork, we know what the requirements are. Here's our preliminary designs, what those facilities will look like, and we need your help to pass the bond, a large bond, to build it.
But all this.
Hold on, just a quick point of order, just so we're not debating or discussing this here.
Right.
Can this be saved for a work session next month, like we're talking about?
Is that okay with everybody to have a work session? An opposite Monday of whatever the board meetings are. Alexa, is that doable? We can have Steve come in and maybe write it
Not a
down.
scheduled one, you wanna add one?
Because we need to get moving forward on this to make the decision.
So that's an
We have
open.
2 months.
That's an open,
Yeah, it would be open public meetings.
clarify.
Special.
Just a work session from us to
Maybe-
talk and do everything. There wouldn't be public comment.
Oh, that was next
We
one.
could take public comment
Can
if
we
that's what we want.
The
Short.
committee to come,
Can't, because then.
They can come as a,
they can come and.
Independent.
Yeah.
A lot of them are right here.
yeah,
That's true.
I
They
think
could come
they're
as-
invited.
as public, they're always.
Yeah.
But not as the facilities committee. That's why 2 of us sit on that committee, and we bring it back, what we discussed in the talk. To the bigger, to us.
And again, I believe that is anybody online or anybody here that has a question that they need answered, like a gentleman here that asked a question that I haven't gotten back to yet, ask it. Just send a text message or whatever so that we can hash it out.
Yes.
So the only date is March 3rd. Right? That or the 17th. Depends on your schedule. So we're got Monday, March 3rd, and we already have a meeting on March 10th.
Yep. 17th, St. Patrick's Day.
That far out because then facilities wouldn't be until end of March, maybe April.
So can everybody do next Monday? If that gives us enough time to put it in the paper, right, Joanne?
6 o'clock, right?
Yes, at 6 o'clock. And we just need an additional board work session.
I'll be flying in hot from City of Corley.
But it works.
I can make
6.
it
Jerry?
Yes.
6.
7 million.
The 3rd at 6 P M. Alexa, is that doable?
Yep.
For you, we can bring
It's
in.
gonna be busy, it's home extend night.
Oh,
The
yeah,
district office is gonna be very busy, it's gonna be packed.
so we can always have it in a different facility.
Come back here,
That's
Mrs.
it.
Cozy.
Noise district transportation facility.
So Okay. You will let us know, Alexa. It's
We need a
up to
lot.
you- Up to you where we have it. I don't think we have to have it at the boardroom. If there's, yes, ma'am.
I'm so sorry, but is there any sex would be okay with people this, I'm sorry, like the Thursday?
That's Monday.
Thursday?
I'm not. Friday. Oh, no, we're gonna be in Yakima.
State, come on.
Nope.
We can make it 6:30 on this.
I apologize, I just have a $7 million job to turn in on on Tuesday, so I'll be fine, I'll make it work. You're welcome.
Let Lindsay know if she can help you do that.
Yeah, Lindsay, can you help me there?
So we're on the third?
The third
The
at
third.
6 or 6:30, which do you want?
I mean, the other option is to keep it on the
6:30.
10th.
Thank you,
Third at 6:30.
thank you very much.
Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah, I was gonna say, Eric, the other option is to keep it on the 10th.
Yeah, we could just dedicate the whole.
Yeah, it's not be better.
Finish the next week.
We don't have much time.
Is that pushed out too far? Are we too sign sensitive or anything?
No, because that would be this time.
We're trying to get onto the November ballot, we still got.
We have till
June,
May.
July.
Hey,
have to
when
do-
we
Right.
submitted that. Yes, that's why I've been pushing. this.
Why May?
Because that's to get it on the agenda or the ballot for
You guys have to do a
November.
resolution, you gotta get it on the ballot.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Last year, we
legal.
got through July. Yeah, we didn't get the ballot, the
We
second.
We were looking at the resolution in July because it was created by our lawyers, so it
So
started
it
in
started
May.
in May and it got to there.
It's just a long.
Right, we still have June and July, so. It's good to not rush and do
Yes.
do it
We
well.
wanted to do it well, but-
Okay.
Yep, so we're, never mind.
That
Not
just
gonna do
started
that.
Oh,
So March
gosh.
10th, March 10th.
Thank you,
Yeah.
that's
All
it,
right, there we go, regular
That's it.
schedule.
thank you, 6 p.m.
Thank you, everybody. All right, now we're gonna go to our executive session. We will be out by 8:15, okay? All right, and no decisions will be made upon that.
Eric.
Well, I didn't get to read it, so it's not presented, it's not part of the public.
Recording stopped.
I mean, to read it in its entirety. Okay, so how is that fair? I would love to.